Hello and welcome to this BCS Hertfordshire YouTube project showcase. Today I'm with James Linley, a University of Hertfordshire student who's recently graduated. James has recently finished his final year project in which he built a system for messaging between students who are living in shared accommodation. So he built this as an Android app and he's going to share this with us today. So James, over to you.
So this, my application that I did for my project is called Housemate. And I got the inspiration from, being a student myself, I've lived with in shared accommodation in lots of different areas. So I've lived in shared houses and I've lived in halls as well. So what I found as a student is that a lack of communication can lead to numerous problems, from late bills and then subsequently getting fines and fees on bills, forgetting to put bins out, just things like leaving milk, not having enough milk in the fridge or bread or anything communal that can be shared with the housemates that could solve a lot of problems. And during my research, I found that when problems are solved at home, so you don't have to stress about that, then your productivity and your work, your studying improves as well. So that's kind of my inspiration for doing this app. So this is when the user opens the app for the first time, or when they're not signed in, this is the page that they're greeted with. So here they can put their name, their email address and password. If they already have an account, they can press login here and it'll come up here. So I'll go through the whole process of registering a user. So if I put here, I'll put my name in for a start, James, and then I'll put James at, this can be anything as long as it's in a valid format at the moment, just because it's not actually live. So I'll put this as, I'll call it showcase.com. The password can be anything that's 6 digits, so I'll just 6 for now. I'll hide the keyboard, and then if I press register, it will say registration successful down here. And then what I've done is I've added the users to a database here. So these are all the dummy users that I've created for now. So if I click on this one, for example, this is me, a name, and then it's got the housemate IDs and a color, which I'll go into a little bit later on. So yeah, and then when the user registers for this, they can then sign in. So if I use the same email address, at case.com, I think it's too many characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can log in here and it comes up with a toast message called login successful. So this is where the user will be greeted. This is the homepage that a user will be greeted with once they have signed in successfully. So the app is called Housemate in the top corner. So there'll be the fundamental elements of this is that the people who live together can share their calendar, they can share their messages with each other, as well as a notice board. So if I click on the settings icon here, it comes up with my name, or well, the name of the user. A unique ID, 2 sets of unique IDs. So the concept behind the ID is that they have a unique ID for whatever purpose, and then they have a house ID to share with other housemates to group together to form a household, essentially. And then there's a log out button here, which I'll demonstrate a little bit later on when I finish this part. So here they have a calendar. So the calendar is just a simple calendar for now. The idea is to have events throughout. When people join a group, they have events where people can add in something where they want. So if, for example, if say I was at my parents' house for this weekend, I could put these, I could edit in here, and then the people in the house would be able to see that. This doesn't work at the moment, but it's definitely a feature that can be improved upon. And then the user can click on anywhere in the year. Then we move on to the notice board. So there are currently no notices on here at the moment, of course, but if I press the plus icon down here, I can give a title. So let's say the milk's run out. Give a title of milk, and then the notice could say we need milk. always a problem. And then it'll come up there, and if I press the back button here, and it comes up there. This could be for anything that the user wants to use. So it could be the bins. So if I put bins due tomorrow, for example, will come up there too. So they come up on the notice board for everyone in the group to see. So then the final aspect, which is the most important aspect, I think, is the messaging. So I have another user logged in here on another what are they called, emulators. I've got another user logged in here on an emulator, also with my name, but a unique ID, different to this one. So I wrote the code for this to be unique, and it's a six-digit string of characters of both letters, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and numbers as well. So all of these will be completely unique. Let's go back. So if we go onto the messages here, so the user can write a message here. Let's do something generic like hello, and then press send. And then that message will come up on this user's screen over here. And it should have their name on here like it does it on the settings. And it will display the message, and then you can just put something like that, etc. like that. And if we go back to this screen, and then when the user is done and they want to log out, they can press this button here and then press log out, and then that ends the session.
So James, on the messaging app there, I noticed you didn't have to pull down to refresh the page to see the message on the other phone. So when you sent that message on the phone on the left, we didn't have to refresh the phone on the right. The message just appeared straight away. How did you get that to work?
Yeah, so when a user registers for an account on the app, they automatically put into a room. So I used a database management system called ScaleDrone, which uses rooms and channels to put people into certain groups. So the idea is to have, so when a user makes a group, they will that a specific channel, and then ScaleDrone will manage those channels. So if a user is subscribed to a channel, which they automatically are, and when they get put into one, they are as well. If there are any incoming messages, it displays it automatically, just in the same way that anything like Facebook or WhatsApp works. So there's no need to pull down to refresh or anything. It's automatically updated online.
Fantastic. Thanks for that explanation. So I can see you've used Android Studio to build this application here. What skills and technologies have you? Other skills and technologies have you applied to build this app?
So yeah, so I built the application purely in Java. My Java was pretty good at the time, but it obviously had to be improved massively. So I spent a lot of time and hard work trying to understand every line of code that I wrote, even if that's not 100% necessary all the time. I think it's important to understand that. I also used, I was very heavily used GitHub to make sure that everything I was doing was documented. And if there was any problems with anything, I can always go back and change things. So I also learned about the importance of Android development life cycles as well. So apps go through certain phases, when they're open, when they're closed. And that's quite important to understand when going back between pages. I also had to look into the design of the application, about, well, specifically talking about the specifications and the requirements, and then going into about how important the way something looks is, specifically in Android development, just application development, because certain colors will turn people off. And the font has to be nice and clear and understandable. So specifically for this one, for my project, I did a lot of research into what colors people find pleasing and what fonts people like. So I implemented that across all of my every page in the app. That's all in there too. or heavily documented as well.
So, thanks for showing us your application today, James. It's been really interesting seeing how a complex application like this can be built. I think there's a lot of opportunity here for this to these bits you've built to be used in other kinds of application, and the push technology you've integrated is really clever too. So well done. So yeah, thank you very much for your time today, James.
Yes, thanks for having me.